Welcome back to another explainer. Today, we're taking a really deep, absolutely fascinating look at a paradox that affects, well, millions of us. We're talking about that incredibly frustrating gap between having these massive, grand ambitions and remaining completely stuck in your daily reality. You know exactly what I mean, right? It's that graveyard of unused domain names you bought for businesses you never actually started. Or maybe those expensive leather-bound planners just sitting unopened on your nightstand. Today, we're going to unpack the psychological architecture behind exactly why this happens.
Think about this for a second. Have you ever met someone who just talks endlessly about their big dreams? They talk about massive success, about building this completely different life, and they can describe this future to you in crystal clear detail. They genuinely believe they're capable of achieving it. But then you zoom out. Months go by, then years go by, and somehow, absolutely zero forward momentum has actually occurred. All that crystal clear vision, but no actual movement. They're just completely frozen in place. Okay, let's dive into this because, honestly, it's incredibly easy to look at that person or even look at ourselves and just label it as pure laziness. But as psychology shows us, this lack of action isn't a character flaw at all. Instead, it's a deeply complex psychological trap. Our own minds are actually working behind the scenes to keep us exactly where we are. What we're really looking at here is this fascinating mechanism of biological self-sabotage, where the brain actively protects itself from taking action. Wild, right? Section 1. The brain's false progress. So here's the crazy part. Our brain tragically confuses the act of thinking with the act of doing. When you vividly imagine success, your brain releases dopamine. It's basically a premature hit of satisfaction. You're getting the biochemical reward of success without breaking a sweat. When someone constantly visualizes their goals, the brain receives this hit of satisfaction almost exactly as if they've already done the hard work. And the result? It drastically reduces the urgency to actually take any real physical steps forward.
Section 2. Fear and the perfect time. Now, it's important to understand that these individuals absolutely do not lack ambition. The motivation is fully there, but hidden right beneath that motivation is a crippling fear of failure. Instead of risking their self-image, they stay safely tucked away in the planning phase. In reality, this looks like endlessly researching a project, making elaborate multi-tabbed spreadsheets, or spending 3 months tweaking a business logo instead of actually launching the product. Because, well, as long as you don't actually launch, your dream remains pristine and perfect. Nothing can ruin it. Which brings us to a somewhat harsh psychological reality. A lot of people genuinely believe they need to feel completely ready before they take the first step. But actually, readiness is a byproduct of taking the leap. You act, and the action itself makes you ready. Waiting for the perfect time is honestly just procrastination wearing a tuxedo. By waiting for this mythical right moment that never actually arrives, the dreamer ensures they never have to face the terrifying possibility of falling short. Section 3. Mental exhaustion and identity. And this brilliantly illustrates what we can call sequential burnout. Let's map it out. At minute 1, you're deeply analyzing every single step, every outcome, every possibility. By hour 2, this constant, relentless overthinking is actively draining your mental energy reserves. So by the time day 1 rolls around and it's actually time to do the work, you're completely wiped out. The brilliant irony here is that you feel physically and mentally exhausted while having literally achieved nothing physically. The intense friction of overanalyzing has completely sabotaged the action before it could even start. But there's an even deeper reason for this resistance, and it really comes down to identity. It's called identity misalignment. This happens when the actions required to achieve your goal just don't match how you secretly see yourself. Think about it. If you secretly view yourself as someone who quits when things get hard, your brain will literally pull the emergency brake before you even start. Why? Because succeeding would actively threaten your established sense of self. Your brain resists progress if taking action requires becoming someone entirely different. Section 4. Addicted to potential. This phrase gets right to the absolute core of the eternal dreamer. Addicted to potential, not effort. It's so true. Dreamers are hooked on the thrilling, dopamine-fueled feeling of possibility. Talking about big dreams creates a literal dependency. It releases the exact same brain chemicals as actually achieving the goal, which creates an addiction to the act of talking rather than doing. It gives them this temporary sense of identity and future success, entirely divorcing the person from the actual, gritty effort required to earn it. The contrast between the illusion and the reality here is stark. The dream is exciting, flawless, and full of limitless possibility. Real progress, on the other hand, is agonizingly slow. I mean, let's be real progress means admitting you aren't an expert yet. It means looking a bit foolish, making messy mistakes, and committing to deeply boring repetitive tasks, things the eternal dreamer absolutely hates doing. They avoid the effort because the hard work forces them to face exactly who they are right now, instead of safely hiding away in the fantasy. Section 5. The core issue revealed.
Having big dreams is not rare at all. Honestly, almost everybody has them, but turning them into reality requires something highly specific. So the crucial point is, the difference between dreamers and doers isn't talent. It's really not about being smarter or more gifted. It is entirely about the ability to move forward and take action, even when your own mind is actively working against you. It's about acting through the fear, acting without that easy dopamine hit of the fantasy, and acting even when you feel completely 100% unready.
Which leaves us with this final, incredibly important question to ask ourselves. Knowing all of these hidden psychological traps, what's your next move? Are you going to stay comfortably attached to the perfect, unblemished idea of who you could be? Or will you put down the vision board, face who you are right now, and finally take that messy, imperfect first step? Ultimately, the choice is yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.